Happy Easter, everybody. Well, we're back, as indicated by me being in the shop. So, just hit it up a little bit this morning with a little bit of hand sandpaper on the stem. Probably going to get the electric sander out to take care of a lot of it. And then there's this side, which it's much better than the other side. The other side was worse. So anyways, I decided that I would see just how tough this stuff is, because I've decided I'm going to put Flex Seal on the bottom of the boat. So this is all going to be Flex Sealed as a pseudo bottom paint. So I wanted to see how tough this stuff was on the primer and on the paint, and I'm here to tell you I've run it over several times with my little sanding block of 50 grit, and it's held up rather well. It's pretty tough stuff. So, and that's only 2 coats. The top sides are going to get 3 coats. But yeah, it's pretty tough. And back here today, I'm going to remove this paint because I've decided I'm going to go ahead and just take all this off, all this paint off. And I'm going to go ahead and finish using fairing compound and fair it out. So that's kind of what's on the docket for today. And once again, right here, same kind of deal. So I epoxied last night all these seams, and they came out really well. Obviously, they're going to be sanded, but they're pretty glassy, which is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a nice, seamless transition along the seams, no pun intended. And then right over here. So that's what we got going on today, guys. That's what's on, like I said, on the docket. So this is where we're at. And I'm sure here in a little bit my wife is going to make me video record the kids hunting Easter eggs, which, as being a father, that's just what you do, and it's actually a good thing. I like it. So that's where we're at, and I will catch you guys up later when I get that paint removed off the back and the front of the bow and parts of the transom sanded and faired out. Until then. Hey y'all. Well, that's the paint experiment that I went ahead and stripped, and I'm getting ready to mix up some epoxy so I can fill in these rough areas. And I'm pretty stoked. Also, too, on another note, and somewhat more encouraging note, the paint and primer combo that I have chosen is exceedingly tough. It took a while to get this stuff off, and I was using 50 grit sandpaper. I mean, it was tough. So that actually, in my opinion, bodes well for using it as topside paint. Also went ahead and faired down the epoxy job that I did the other day for the seams right back here in the transom area. So that's come along. That's really good. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up, like I said, some more epoxy and just kind of hit these seams up lightly so I can finish fairing them. This seam, being that it didn't get any paint and primer worked, is beautiful. Very little epoxy is actually going to have to go on this one, and I'm very pleased about that. It's actually a good thing, especially because epoxy is expensive. Did so good, I figured I'd have me a beer. But the stem is just, I mean, just coming out great. I am really digging this. Looks way better. Way better. Once again, it's going to get another round, so this will be like round 3 or 4 of fairing compound for the stem, but I figured that it would take that much because, once again, it's going to be readily visible. So I want it to look nice. I want it to fair right into the hull and, you know, augment those beautiful lines that this thing's going to have. So I am, once again, very pleased with how this is coming out. So that's where we stand. So what's next? like I said, I'm going to mix up some fairing epoxy, my fairing compound, which is right over here at my epoxy station. And I'm going to go along the hull and get like a lot of the crap off the bottom and stuff on the sides and get it ready for paint after that, because we're damn near, if not completely, ready to paint. The wife and I have also decided that we are going to use the Flex Seal as bottom paint. So that's what we're going to use, and I think it's going to be awesome and incredibly waterproof. So that means because the Flex Seal material only comes in basically two colors, or colors if you will. One of them's black, the other's clear. Well, I don't want clear on the bottom because, well, then you'll see all that, and while granted it won't be seen anyway, I just don't want to add insult to injury. So what we're going to use is we're going to use black. It'll be a black bottom, and what that means for us, because we also want to use that top side paint that I showed you guys, we're going to have to strike a water line. So what that means is I'm going to put two batter boards on the back here, well, one batter board on the back, another one on the front, and run a string to get my water line. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to go around this curve and get an accurate line around the curve of the hull, which is what I want. So that's kind of where we stand. It does put in a new bit of complication as far as finishing it up, at least the hull, but I think it'll be worth it. I really do. I think that this is the way to go. So that's where we're headed. And since basically all I'm doing from here out is mixing epoxy and fairing, I'm not going to bore you guys with it anymore. You've seen basically how I do that. I just don't see the need to bore you with more of this tedious detail. It's necessary, no doubt, but not something that you need to be a slave to. That's only for me. So, until then, I will catch you guys up when we are done with the fairing process and I've got the hull cleaned off and we're ready to start actually rolling paint in the first stuff, or striking the water line, I'm sorry. So when we strike the water line, I will fire this back up and you guys will have a front row seat to how we do that. Until then.